So when it comes to when it comes to film in Uganda, you can never go past the guy from LoukOut Films. So, first tell us, before we even dive into other things that you do, how did you start? How did you venture into LoukOut Films?
So LoukOut Films is it's just a name so that I can pay taxes. But I've always been doing this. I started out as a sketch artist. Yes. So that's something that I always did as a child. In fact, I thought everyone could do it.
You can pull up your microphone, as in some people cannot catch. I'm not catching you well. Yes.
Yeah. So I was saying that I started off with sketches. This is something that I did. As long as I can remember, I was always drawing for the school, like charts, all that stuff. It took a while for me to realize that not anyone can do this. This is because why do they keep calling me to draw for P7
right.
and I'm in like P2, So I remember when I was 8, my parents were watching a movie called We Were Soldiers, and I think that's the very first time I got that thing, and I want to be a part of this. It's from that war film. So from that point on, everything I've been doing has just been leading to that direction.
You write for film?
Yeah, pretty much everything I've done. Like I used to draw like comics.
Yes.
Because to me that was like a cheap way to kind of have a film.
Yes.
In my own way, and I learned how to do animation. I learned how to do so all these things I've been learning to get me to where I am. And I learned how to write a few years ago, like maybe 2-3 years ago.
Yes.
And it was kind of out of necessity because the kind of ideas that I like doing are not exactly what everyone else is doing. Not that it's unique or special. It's just that I have a different perspective about film. Like most of the movies that are being created in Uganda, not that there are any, I'm not talking down on them. It's just that there's this idea of trying to teach people moral lessons, and I don't like that kind of stuff, because every time a filmmaker, who I believe most filmmakers are like perverts, and they have nothing to say that's going to change the world. It's just that. So every time someone is trying to teach me a moral lesson, I'm like,
what are we doing?
Like, who are you telling me?
And coming from that, if I'm to keep with the conversation you're with, that a certain number of filmmakers in Uganda have packaged their storytelling to be about moral lessons. Someone's going to get pregnant, someone's going to get HIV, someone is going to kill, someone's going to double cross the other. The film projects you have done, how have you structured your storytelling? And whose story are you telling anyway?
Like I told you, the thing that got me into film, I try to recreate the same thing. Like when I watched that film, there's a way it took me out of reality. Now, to most people in Europe, their lives are like, from the time they're kids, they don't have major issues like what we have here. They don't have abject poverty, they don't have all these things. So they need some sort of escapism. So when they watch African lives, that's their way of escaping what they have. So they come out of a film thinking, I should be happy with what I have. Look at these people, they have nothing. So as a person who has been raised in this country, and I'm looking at people, it's mostly people who don't have anything. That's not the kind of life I want to watch. My escape is different. I don't want to watch people suffering. My escape is to watch things that take me out of that for some time, so that I can relax and then get back to my LDU life after. I can't be on that all the time. So that's why for me, when I started making films, my goal was for entertainment, and if there's a lesson to be learned, thank God.
So how did COVID affect? Because you have a very good product on your hands. That is a big hand clap for Blinded, guys. Yeah. So how did COVID affect you trying to create?
This is very strange, and I've always wondered, like, is COVID like really happening? Because it didn't really, like, to be honest, apart from the fact that we stayed home for a couple of months, nothing changed, at least for me, because I established myself early on. My model was that I'll try to create, it's very expensive to create quality content. It's very expensive. But I always knew that if you do quality stuff, eventually people will pay for it. Eventually. It's only a matter of time. So when I started out doing animation, I pushed myself to where I didn't have to go for the standards that Uganda was accepting. But I pushed myself far enough because my goal was to get hired by like people in Europe or in the US. So during COVID, I was still getting jobs from abroad. So it didn't really affect me, and I apologize if that sounds mean to people who are affected. But I always knew, because the same thing happened in 2016 elections. All the jobs that I was doing in the country stopped, and I was surviving on jobs that I was getting from abroad.
Looking at just that one product you did, that is Blind Date.
Yeah.
It is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
The production is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it seemed to cost so much money. Okay, from looking at whatever was going on, I was like, in the industry, are we going to get this money back? What's your business model? Because you're passionate about, you go all out, man.
Yeah.
So what's your business model? How do we make money?
So there's this idea that I've always had that for the industry to move forward, someone has to sacrifice. Because I know with the music industry, there's the Moses Matovus, those guys who probably did more than they should have with no pay at the time, but they're getting the money now.
Priceless. It's hard to get Moses Matovu to perform for you.
Exactly. So I know that no one is paying me for the blind. It cost me about 50 M.
Let's say again what you said.
Huh?
Blind Date cost what?
It cost about 50 M.
This guy did the film is 30 minutes. Has anyone watched Blind Date? You should watch Blind Date. 50 what?
Well,
can I be your friend? And let's go.
I mean, compared to what the industry spends, that's peanuts. Yeah, that's peanuts.
No, comparing it to what Uganda spends on film.
Yeah, but that's the problem. We shouldn't look at it as a Uganda thing, because now we're uploading these things on YouTube, and YouTube is not like there's a Uganda section and there's this section. Everything is viewed by everyone, and they expect you to be on the same kind of standards. So we need to work. Like when I'm doing a project, I always think, okay, there's something for Ugandans. There has to be something for people who are not Ugandan, because I know they'll see it, and I have to make sure that I try to produce for the entire world, because that's where we are now. So when I'm comparing myself, I will compare myself to other films because they're made by people just like me. They're not any different. So I should be able to do those things, you know? I should be able. There's, of course, I don't have as much money as they have. But if you look at films that were done in like the 1940s, because I always watch those black and white films, they're still better than the films we're producing now. So when you look at that, you think they didn't have all the cameras we have now. Like, you have more technology in your iPhone than in the spaceship that went to the moon. So you should be able to do that thing because you have the tech. All the money they spent was on the tech. So when I look at all that stuff, I think we need to push harder. As much as there's no money now, but that can't be the situation forever. It should change in a couple of years. I'm projecting in maybe 5 years we should have an industry that's able to pay people well enough. But to get there, we need to create as if we are already there. So that's why I would sometimes invest in more than, like, I know I'm not going to get that money back, but I know that it's going to push other people. And the moment we all push ourselves, we might become like the music industry where everyone is producing music. So you listen to let's say a FIFA Maker song, and then you listen to a Beyonce song. The only difference will be the art. This person is more of an artist than this one, but the production won't be that different. Like, there won't be a drop in quality. Like, the drum will sound like a drum. So if we can get to that point where we make films and you watch it after Black Panther and, well, these people are speaking Luganda, these people are speaking English, but I didn't have to adjust my TV. It looks quite close. Of course, it won't be that close, but if investors, let's say you have the Netflix, you have all these new guys, if they're watching our content and it looks like it could play in the US and the people watching won't have to adjust anything, it pulls them closer. Because I did a film called Girl in the Yellow Jumper.
By the coming back to that Girl in the Yellow Jumper,
yeah,
wait, it premiered?
No, it didn't premiere because of COVID.
Finally, something affects you. You said you were not affected by COVID. Finally.
Well,
but yeah, I was looking forward to it. I remember seeing the release date, and then COVID struck. Tell us about that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I spent way more money on it than I could get out. So it didn't really do anything because I wasn't going to get the money back, anyways. So, but what happened is we pitched it to Netflix, and they took it. But now
big hand clap to that. Girl in a Yellow Jumper was pitched to Netflix and they took it. Yeah, could that be like the first Ugandan film on Netflix?
That's where I'm coming.
Yeah.
So it's a business, and you can't open up a shop with only one bread. You see, when they're opening up, if they open up Uganda and they start showing films from Uganda, it kind of opens the floodgates. So now, after watching that film, a Ugandan will be what next? Which other one? Right. So it's not a good business model. They need to have a lot of content. And that's why on this new film that I'm doing, I invited people to watch the process so that we can get more people to learn. I'm not saying that I know, but to learn together. So because they can't buy just one project, they need so many. And that's the reason why it was held up. It's more like they took it and now it's just shelved until they have enough to open a business. Yeah, so I think that's why people need to push themselves. You need to push yourself harder. You know that thing they say in exercise, if you do 10 push-ups and you're tired, it means you're halfway there.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing we have to try with pretty much everything else.
So the kind of money that the industry wants to get is, from his words, it's going to come in like 5 years, but we're supposed to work like that now.
Yeah, we have to
put in the work of 5 years today so that we can earn that. That's a very big statement to make. A big hand clap to this guy. Very, very glad to be talking to you today. Now, before I let Loukman go, any questions for Loukman?
One of my questions, regards your creation of content. Why do Ugandan content creators, especially movie makers and whatnot, shy away from controversial subjects? Yeah, because, for example, now there's a lot of political tension, there's a lot of social injustice, there's a lot of. Does it have something to do with, you expect a phone call to come from somewhere to tell you put that movie down or something? Do you face those challenges? And then two, the other question is about that Netflix thing you talked about. I happen to know a couple of people who are also movie makers who think just like you, and they want the entire industry to have more products so that the DSTVs, the Netflixes, the Hulu's of this world can come for us. But where exactly do you think the problem is? Because the truth is, we're not short on content. That's the truth, we're not short on content. If you went out there and look for Ugandan movies, you'll be shocked. There's very many. But where exactly is the discontent? Why don't we see this content out there? Are we poor at marketing? Really?
I think most people prefer to stay alive.
It's good to be alive. Who wants to be alive? Yeah, it's good to be alive, man.
So I mean, if you can't watch TV and you watch someone being dragged, I mean, and then you also do the same thing. So I don't want to start fighting. I mean, there's a lot more things I can do, and when the time comes, change comes when it comes. Like, it will be the right time for those stories to be told. Right now, I think you just need to stay alive so that when that time comes, you're able to do those stories. Yeah, and about the content, yes, we do have a lot of content, but the problem we have, and this is something that my dad told me. If you want to be a rich person, you have to think like a rich person. Now, there's things that rich people don't do. As a poor person, those things, like, you have to do those things because poor people have to do those things. Like investing, poor people can't invest because they need to eat now. You know. So if you want to be like a rich person, you need to think like you have so much money, and it's difficult to think like that because it's hard. You're limited by it. So the reason we're not getting these things is we have this cultural thing where people have to eat now. They have to eat now, and it's not something to be blamed about because we have no control. So I try to change my thinking, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to invest this money in this thing, and I know it might not work out in a couple of years, but it has to work out. I mean, it has to. So we have a lot of content, yes, but it's not the quality that most of these people are looking for. And the only way to get this quality is by investing money, which most people don't have. And it's hard to get people to invest money in you because most of us filmmakers, we're not a business. We're just doing content, you know, and hoping for the best. Yeah. So until it's a business where money goes in and money comes out on the other side, it's difficult for us to be there. So this is why I thought, if I have some money, I am not obviously not a rich person, but if I have some money, I invest and make the films in hopes that it will probably grow the whole industry. If people watch content online and it looks like we have good cinematographers or we have good grips or whatever, if they have a project coming to Uganda, they won't have to bring in their own DP from Europe. They will know that we have someone capable. And slowly, that's kind of how it will grow. And also, if we have good content out there, it makes companies like Netflix curious. Like, so it means these people actually have this. So maybe if we pump in money, there's but you have to lead. You have to show them. Yeah, you have to show, because saying that, oh, you see, I can bench 100 kilos. I mean, you can say that the whole day.
Right.
You need to show.
You need to bench the 100.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is trying to make noise, and hopefully, it's not hopefully. I know it will happen. Someone will notice. Yeah. And they'll probably bring in those kind of jobs that we need to grow the industry. Yeah.
A big hand clap for Loukman. And important for the information he has given us. You've had, I mean, from what you said, that LoukOut is so that you can pay your tax, and also figuring out the fact that you can't adopt things from books that have been written because people don't have legal existence. So the people who are in the media space, it is important for us to streamline this thing called legal existence, guys. We need to streamline legal existence because it's the only way to earn money right. Yeah, and also the other takeout from what you said is that when the industry is growing, we pay with sacrifice. If you're not sacrificing, you won't earn. So I think the biggest I'm learning from you is that because you are sacrificing, you sacrifice so hard, but you are sacrificing. Yeah. And we need to sacrifice to get to where we want to get. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Loukman Ali. Thank you very much for coming to the MCI MV Talks. It's been awesome hosting you. Thank you very much.